Blog number 24, Dog Days of Ataxia. Pavlov's dog? Who among us hasn't heard of the famous experiments from the 1890s by a famous psychologist named Ivan Pavlov, who worked with dogs and came up with the brilliant Pavlovian theory? Mr. Pavlov used the bell as a neutral stimulus, and every time he rang the bell, he would give the dog a treat, until the dog began to associate the ringing of the bell with the treat, and the treat was no longer necessary for the dog to respond to the sound. Pavlov and his studies of classical conditioning have become famous. They were the first systematic study and showed us the basic laws of learning and conditioning. Now, I am not a brilliant psychologist, and this is not the 1890s but the 2014s. However, I have trained my dog in what I would like to present to you here as the Great Honey Nut Cheerio Experiment, which am sure will go down into history as bringing some very important insights into the psyche of the dog. My theory was that in my dog's mind, food would trump everything, including sleep. First, allow me to set the stage for you so you have a better understanding. Our little dog Ollie had been sleeping with my daughter, but ever since she went away to college, he has been sleeping in our bed. Melissa and I always get up at 5 in the morning or shortly thereafter. We get our coffee and then we return to our room where we sit and try to wake up until she has to get ready for work, which is about 6 a.m. I let Ollie stay in bed under the covers until that time, and then I get him up and I take him outside. I have a recliner in my room that I sit in, and as soon as he comes back inside, he runs into the room and jumps up on the chair and curls up and sleeps until about 9 o'clock. Nothing will disturb him if he thinks there's a chance that you're going to move him, it will give you that look as you pass by. Nothing will disturb him, that is, until he hears the sound of food hitting the kitchen floor. Every morning I pour myself a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, and even though I am careful, I usually end up spilling some on the floor. That little reference right there was how I justified putting the word ataxia in the little title of this blog. He quickly learned that I do this, and he is always listening for it. This morning, however, I was able to successfully fill my bowl without spilling any Cheerios, so he did not bother himself to move off the chair. The food has to hit the floor, which indicates that the food is now basically free and up for grabs. So this is where my experiment came in. I decided to flick a Cheerio onto the floor and see what happened. Sure enough, he came turning around the corner within about 2 seconds and was able to zero right in on the fallen object like he'd actually witnessed it hit the floor and knew exactly where the little treasure lay. After spilling several more Cheerios, I felt that he had made the effort to come out, so I had to give him a few more. He returned to the chair and went back to sleep. Not only was this an important experiment, but it also served to provide the morning entertainment. Sometimes it's just simply about the small things.